Welcome to all. Today, we are integrating the 3 techniques given by Master Dwal Kul in Glamour, A World Problem, published by Lucis Trust, updated December 2025. As we prepare for the integration of the techniques of indifference, the technique of the presence, and the technique of light, let us review the stages of the technique of the presence. Orientation. We reflect in the light of the present world crisis, and each in the light of our own soul personality problem. We recognize that advanced humanity stands as the dweller on the threshold of divinity. The angel stands expectant, absorbed in the presence, yet ready to absorb the dweller. Humanity has advanced in consciousness to the very boundaries of the world of spiritual values and the kingdom of light and of God. The angel has come to earth in expectation of recognition, an event of which the advent of Christ 2,000 years ago was the symbol and the precursor. This is the situation where all advanced aspirants are concerned. It can be ours. It is the situation also where humanity as a whole is concerned and the approaching hierarchy. The consciousness of humanity from the higher and spiritual standpoint functions today through the steadily growing band of world servers, world aspirants, and world disciples, and their name is Legion. Humanity today is the dweller, whilst the hierarchy of souls is the angel, and behind stands the presence of divinity itself, intuited by the hierarchy and dimly sensed by humanity, but providing in this manner that threefold synthesis, which is divine manifestation in form. We recognize the need to progress in learning, understanding, and utilizing the technique of the presence as individuals and in small groups focused on certain thought forms of solution. So we continue in our effort to assist disciples and initiates at large in expanding the practice of the technique of the presence to allow existing and newly formed groups to progress from a focus on Group Glamour to dissipation of World Glamour, using the technique of light, ever expanding the field of endeavor for humanity to blot out the dweller on the threshold and reveal the angel absorbed in the presence, ready to absorb the dweller. Alignment. Our focus today in our dissipation of glamour using the technique of light, the effects of the glamour of group interference with group freedom of choice as this glamour affects collectives, groups, nations, and humanity globally at this time, hindering alignment with the soul personality purpose of those impacted. Consider your part in this glamour and any group glamour that you can know at this time that can be dissipated. Master Dwal Kul says, know your part in it. And we will be silent for 4 minutes. First, let us begin with what we have practiced in order to align using the technique of the presence. We evoke the stage of tension as basic and essential for complete control of the personal self so that it is fitted for contact with the real. We achieve a state of fusion with the soul or with the angel, guarding the approach to the path of the higher evolution. We hold the mind steady in the light of the soul, which remains the attitude of the lower self for the entire remaining period of work, held at the point of tension by the soul and not by an effort of the personality. The soul undertakes this holding when the personal self has done its utmost to achieve the desired tension, to be ready to proceed with a formula using a more advanced meditation, attitude, not form. We achieve a definite and sustained effort to sense the presence throughout the universe, in all forms and in all presentations of truth. It is the effort primarily to see in the light which the angel radiates, the point of light behind all phenomenal appearances. Then, having sensed the presence, not theoretically, but in vibrating response to its existence, we approach the stage of the ascertaining of the purpose. Pausing to fuse the soul qualities of the integrated personality into direct alignment with the angel of the presence in your own experience. We are concerned with the effort to achieve an understanding of that, the soul and the angel of the presence aligned, which through the medium of form, which is the soul vehicle, causal body, egoic lotus, seeking to control the personality vehicles, and then seeking to embody the high purpose at this particular point in the evolutionary cycle. Most importantly, as we eventually hope to express our intuitive flashes, this way is revealed to us as disciples. And lo, it may not concern the intuitive message which we may bring back from our high adventure. The higher flashes, rather than personality flashes, having achieved complete self-forgetfulness. Now we will attune our attitude to the sixth stage of the technique of the presence that moves the disciple from imaginative receptivity and discovery to the focus on the lights of the presence as a higher interlude, in which the disciple carries some world problem, for us, the glamour we are considering, for the helping of humanity into what is esoterically called the triple light of the intuition. This light is formed by the blending of 1, the light of the personal self, focused in the mind. 2, the light of the soul, focused in the angel. And 3, the universal light which the presence emits. Let us ponder in silence for 3 minutes on our own experience of these triple lights of the intuition as aligned with the presence. This, when done with faculty through concentration and long practice of the use of the technique of the presence, produces two results. The first result: there will suddenly dawn upon the disciple's waiting mind, which still remains the agent of reception, the answer to the problem of Maya, glamour, and illusion, the clue to what is needed to bring relief to humanity, the information desired which, when applied, will unlock some door in the realm of science, psychology, or religion, where the glamours and illusion are fogging the true thought forms of solution for humanity. This door, when opened, will bring relief or release to many. You may recognize and realize on the level of soul consciousness your soul purpose in relation to Maya, glamour, and illusion. At this time, as you use this alignment, becoming more real with greater concentration and prolonged practice. In the eventual revelation of purpose, the passive awaiting intention of your soul, note any relationship to the dissipation of any world glamours that you may have noted. For example, fear, requiring the illumination of spiritual courage; separateness, requiring the transformation of that to unity through enlightenment; materialism, requiring the release of all attachments to personal and group physical forms, inhibiting humanity's enlightenment and progress. As before I have told you, the intuition, this triple light, is never concerned with individual problems or inquiries, as so many self-centered aspirants think. It is purely impersonal and only applicable to humanity in a synthetic sense. In the stages prior to the third initiation, this intruding agent of light provides direction, an inner template, as a demonstration of a reasoning capacity to pursue action with absolute purity of intention, the first rule of action, leading to an authentic soul-guided response based on the principle of directed purpose, actuated in the three subtle ray embodiments: the life, monadic spark; quality, soul light; and appearance, personality expression of the aspirant. Inspiring study, soul-focused activities as in-person meetings and dialogue, meditation projects, dedication to group efforts to lift the veils of humanity, to reveal soul consciousness and the path of light. The result: the multiplicity of groups and teachers described by Master Dwal Kul, now responding to world need, aligning all the ray types across all esoteric spiritual groups, institutions, and nations. Lower interlude for the group assembled aligning soul purpose for the technique of light, and as those practicing the meditative attitude of the technique of the presence. The recognition and realization increases in intensity and with greater clarity over time and in alignment with soul purpose. The intruding agent of light, as the old commentary calls these adventuring intuitives, is recognized as one to whom can be entrusted some revelation, some new impartation of truth, some significant expansion from a seed of truth already given to the race. To meet the requirement to dissipate glamour, dispel illusion, and achieve a state of divine indifference in group formation, we each, in our own experience, may be able to identify the group and world glamours that the soul intends for us to dissipate in group formation. So let it be, and help us to do our part, in alignment with the one world-serving group. We endeavor to connect, third aspect, and unify, second aspect, telepathically, first aspect, with the groups. The multiplicity of groups serving as part of the one world-serving group. Their names are legion. Our goal in using and integrating the technique of the presence. We seek to learn a new rhythm, to enter a new field of experience, and to follow the steps of that advanced humanity who have trodden ahead of us on the path, leading from darkness to light, from the unreal to the real. We have tasted the joys of life in the world of illusion, and have learnt their powerlessness to satisfy and hold us. Now, we are in a state of transition between the new and the old states of being. We are vibrating between the condition of soul awareness and form awareness. We are seeing double. Our spiritual perception grows slowly and surely as the brain becomes capable of illumination from the soul via the mind. As the intuition develops, the radius of awareness grows and new fields of knowledge unfold. Our affirmation as part of the one world-serving group. The souls of all are one, and we are one with them. We seek to love, not hate. We seek to serve, and not exact due service. We seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form, and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate, and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. We proceed, holding, as we move forward, that focused, immovable will in the light of the soul, integrating the technique of light and technique of indifference into our experience of the presence as the registered life quality and appearance throughout the universe, concerned with our effort to achieve an understanding of that which, through the medium of form, is seeking to embody the high purpose at this particular point in the evolutionary cycle. We gather our forces and proceed to our preparation for the dissipation of glamour with a brief sounding of the soul qualities that are being tapped and radiated into the group field as we integrate the techniques. We may recognize the quality in our own ray makeup. We may listen, touch, see, apply, know, and recognize the qualities in others. We even sense the vibratory resonance of these qualities in the groups and fields of our group service. As groups have developed and emerged in this dawning of the age of Aquarius, note the soul qualities of the groups in which you are working, all aligned with the second ray soul of our planetary being, and potentially demonstrating the sub-rays of the ashrams of the hierarchy, with emerging qualities to contribute to and assist in the eventual unity and ultimate synthesis of these ashrams at the close of the cycle of the externalization of the hierarchy and the coming of the Lord Maitreya. Strength and courage of the dynamic will of the first ray. Steadfastness. Truthfulness arising from absolute fearlessness. Capacity for large-mindedness. Calm and serene temper. The patience underlying loving understanding. Endurance. Strength of the radiatory will of the second ray. Will to love. Will to good. Will to unify. The magnetism of the radiatory love of the second ray. Love of truth. Faithfulness. Intuition. Clear intelligence radiating goodwill. Wide views on all abstract questions. Sincerity of purpose. Clear intellect with the adaptive magnetic will of the third ray. Will to evolve. Capacity for concentration on philosophic studies. Patience aligned with evolutionary process. Caution. Know thyself, then proceed slowly and with caution. Cultivate the realization that eternity is long and that which is slowly built up endures forever. These may be the bywords for the third ray brain and third ray mind, the brain of the planetary logos. Absence of the tendency to worry over trifles. Strong affections. Sympathy. Physical courage with the harmonizing magnetic will to good, drawing and attracting goodwill, and soul light emerging from conflict on the etheric physical plane. Generosity, devotion, quickness of intellect and perception. Strictly accurate statements. Justice, without mercy. Perseverance, common sense, keen intellect, uprightness, independence on the field of group endeavor, actuating goodwill through the will to act with magnetism, manipulating, arranging concrete intelligence in accordance with divine purpose. Devotion, single-mindedness, love, tenderness, intuition, loyalty to the will to cause, the manifestation of goodwill with reverence, dedicated to the radiatory will of divine love wisdom, actuating on the inclusive directed energy of the first aspect of divinity. Strength and courage of the will to express, with magnetism, drawing, attracting, and arranging with perseverance, self-reliance, actuating with courtesy and extreme care in details. And those qualities that we are developing as a group and in our service groups: wisdom, compassion, tolerance, group love, sacrifice, service, sympathy, humility, patience, identification with others. How can we radiate these group qualities, these virtues as a group, a unified conscious soul, using technique of light, the technique of indifference, and the technique of the presence? By means of the technique of light, the illumined mind assumes control over the astral or emotional body and dissipates glamour. When light pours in, glamour fades out. Illumination dominates and the vision of reality can be seen. It produces ability to tread the path of discipleship and enables the man to live a life enlightened by divinity. Illumination is the applied power of transformation. Our focus today, the effects of the glamour of group interference with group freedom of choice, as this glamour affects collectives, groups, nations, and humanity globally at this time, hindering alignment with the soul personality purpose of those impacted. As a soul, I work in light, and darkness cannot touch me. I take my stand within the light. I work, and from that point, I never move. Before we begin, let us align as soul and as a group, and see our group approaching Master Dwal Kul's study. To develop our group focus in dissipating glamour, we use the creative imagination, controlled by the mind, transmitting an image from the abstract mind onto the astral field, facing the group members as if eye to eye, and establishing a soul-to-soul connection. In silence, we withdraw from personal and world affairs and center on the work to be done, setting up a magnetic field of positive, receptive activity. In silence. Our aim is to embody spiritual discernment, practice positive harmlessness, and eventually achieve a state of divine indifference as we dispel illusion, dissipate glamours, devitalize Maya in all our relationships. We radiate the qualities, the virtues of the group, as one unified soul consciousness, as we follow the technique of light to dissipate the glamour of group interference with freedom of choice in all its forms. By activating the technique of indifference and aligning with the presence, we say together, more radiant than the sun, purer than the snow, subtler than the ether, is the self, the spirit within my heart. I am that self am I. I am the soul, as if one soul. I am light divine, as if the embodiment of light divine. I am love, as if one loving expression. I am will, as if the will of the soul. I am fixed design, as if the unified design for the fulfillment of the purpose. We align and orient to the subjective livingness of the ashram. Linking heart, head, and ajna centers, find the spark of monadic life hidden within the center of your being. Allow this point, that which you perceive as the presence, to permeate your entire being. Aligned with the soul of all, draw down soul radiance into the egoic lotus, the soul vehicle, the vessel of the soul in incarnation. In silence, receive from the ashram. We align as receptive vessels of soul consciousness to receive impressions from the ashrams of the masters. knowing we enter into the aura of the hierarchy, touching the Buddhic plane, as one on the periphery of the ashram, in quiet confidence and with right attitude and the security that we are united as soul and embody soul qualities in expression. We dare. Bring the soul qualities forward in your mind and send those on a beam of light into the divine circulatory flow from your being, projecting into the group heart and then to the ashram. Together, let us hear the note of the soul, visualize the light of the soul, the light of mind, and the light of matter, brain, merged and blended, recognizing and feeling the intent of the soul. From that high point of soul focus and using the triple light, we merge and blend, first our individual lights, and then see the individual lights merging and blending into one group center. And we see those joining us from the other side of the veil, and the light of the senior disciples and initiates serving to dissipate glamour, bringing their light as this triple light, the group light, used in the technique of light. Then, as the group soul, the realized unity of the souls of all the group members becomes the great searchlight of the light of matter and light of mind, merged with the light of the soul. Growing, expanding, realized into a state of becoming the one great light, quiescent and not yet radiating out in silence. Sounding as the greater group that has formed and is forming, becoming the channel for the dissipation of glamour and dispelling of illusion. Using the sign of the cross of divinity, we sound the protective formula as one with the greater group. As the soul, we work in light, touching the forehead. And darkness cannot touch us, touching the center of the chest. We take our stand within the light, touching the left eye of Manas. We work, and from that point, we never move, touching the right eye of Buddhi. Maintaining a focused, immovable will as the point of tension, the identification of the brain, mind, and soul, with the will aspect and the preservation of that identification, unchanged and immovable in all circumstances and difficulties. Knowing that the will aspect is contacted only from the mental plane, and only those, therefore, who are working with and through the mind can begin to appropriate this energy. We invite those on the other side of the veil and those who will join us subjectively to invoke the three aspects of the will: the dynamic will, expressed by first ray aspect of love wisdom; the inclusive radiatory will of the second ray aspect of love wisdom; the magnetic will of the third ray aspect of love wisdom, which draws, attracts, manipulates, and arranges in accordance with divine purpose into those streams of the will of each of the attributes. Not the same kind of magnetism as that of love expressed as the Christ principle on the highest planes. Aligned with the soul and the abstract mind and spiritual discernment, we call forth the will along the 7 lines of energy. First, the will to initiate. Second, the will to unify. Third, the will to evolve. Fourth, the will to harmonize. Fifth, the will to act. Sixth, the will to cause. Seventh, the will to express. Affirming as we sound the mantra together. In the center of the will of God we stand. Naught shall deflect our will from God's will. We implement that will by love. We turn towards the field of service. As the triangle divine, we work out that will within the square and serve humanity. Let us pause to consider as our focus today the effects of the glamour of interference with individual and group freedom of choice, as this glamour is affecting groups, collectives, nations, and humanity globally at this time. Identify those instances of this group glamour where it can be seen that selfish, harmful actors, groups, nations, collectives, limit freedom of choice and achievement of soul personality integration. Identify a point of focus from your own reflection and the world glamour underlying the group glamour in the instance you have chosen for today. In silent contemplation, consideration of the related glamours in the instances that come to mind. Merging the light of matter and the light of mind with soul light, we create a great searchlight, ready to direct its light onto the astral plane. We pause as we attempt to throw behind the searchlight our united, directed, and dynamic will or intent along the projected beam of light. The destructive quality of the spiritual will, destructive to all that hinders the manifestation of divinity. Having attained a united point of tension, and having dedicated both the individual will and the group will to the will of God, we bring the directed purpose of the presence into the light. This act of will, carried on by each member of the group silently, with a deep realization that all of us are thus accepted, and that it is the group will which is being silently focused. Then we say together, with power upon its beam, the light is focused on the goal. We are silent. Then we say in unison, the light is one, and in that light shall we see light. This is the light that turns the darkness into day. Sounding the Om as the group soul on its own plane, sounding forth by the group soul the realized unity of the souls of all the group members. Sounding the Om as the soul on the mental plane. Sounding the Om as the soul on the astral plane, the soul ready to function as light bearer and distributor of light upon the astral plane. Now merging into the group presence with those joining subjectively and via our matrices of enlightened service activities, our current service groups and triangles of light, in the heart, mind, heart in the head, we sound the mantram of light. Radiance we are and power. We stand forever with our hands stretched out, linking the heavens and the earth, the inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. We reach into the light and bring it down to meet the need. We reach into the silent place and bring from thence the gift of understanding. Thus, with the light we work and turn the darkness into day. Act of projection. We utter the words of power which, again naming the particular glamour seen under the sign of Sagittarius, we see the goal, and into Capricorn, where the light supernal is revealed. We bring the glamour consciously into relation with the focused light, and we begin the task of dissipation. The power of our united light prevents the appearance of the glamour of interference with individual and group freedom in its many appearances as related to more specific glamours. The power of our united light negates the quality of interference with individual and group freedom and those related qualities from affecting humanity. The power of our united light destroys the life behind interference with individual and group freedom of choice. These words are the act of affirmation and gain strength from the experience of the aspirant and from our familiarity and regular use. Act of penetration. We visualize the gradual dissipation and dispersal of the glamour by the penetration of the light into its darkness. We endeavor to see the glamour disintegrating and the reality emerging, doing this by an effort of the creative imagination. Each of us does this in our own way and according to our own understanding and capacity. Let us be in silence for 5 minutes as the work of dissipation continues. We withdraw our consciousness from the astral plane and then the mental plane to the soul, signifying the work of the technique of light is completed. The searchlight of the soul is shut off, though we know it takes continued effort and regularity. Master Dwal Kul assures us that the glamour will never again affect our groups and nations as it did before. We sound the Om in group formation, and then, in order to emphasize that the group work is ended, on behalf of the group, the leader for the group sounds the Om aloud and says, Om. So let it be, and help us in our group life to end all glamour and untruth. And then each member will do the same, sounding the Om. Om. And saying, so let it be, and help me in my own life to end all glamour and untruth. Reminding ourselves and the group assembled that in using this, the technique of light, we create the capacity for the illumined mind to assume control over the astral or emotional body and dissipate glamour. When light pours in, glamour fades out. Illumination dominates and the vision of reality can be seen. We move from the unreal to the real, producing ability to tread the path of discipleship, illumined, and enabling us to live a life enlightened by divinity. Illumination is the applied power of transformation, allowing us to touch the Buddhic plane and intuition. To affirm the progress we are making in integrating the three techniques, we use the creative imagination, holding the mind steady in the light of the soul with complete impersonality, and hold a vision of being illumined, our group transformed. The groups with which we are working and affiliated transformed. All nations transformed. The world transformed. We silently connect into the great web of light, illuminating the jewel in the lotus, the central vessel of the presence in the crown of the group, sounding Om Mane Padme Om. Lead us, O Lord, with the technique of indifference, using the power of transmission from darkness to light, with the technique of light, using the power of illumination from the unreal to the real, with the technique of the presence, using the power of intuition from death to immortality. to achieve freedom from the lower bodies and life on the Buddhic plane, unity with true intuition and divine indifference. We are points of light within a greater light. We are strands of loving energy within the stream of love divine. We are points of sacrificial fire, focused within the fiery will of God, and thus we stand. We are a way by which humanity may achieve. We are a source of strength, enabling them to stand. We are beams of light, shining upon their way, and thus we stand. And standing thus, revolve and tread this way the ways of humanity, and know the ways of God, and thus we stand. Let us remember Master Dwalkul's teachings anent the 3 techniques. Stage by stage, each person progresses from one state of illusion or glamour to another, and from one point of discriminative opportunity to another, until they have developed 3 major capacities. 1. The capacity to handle force, devitalizing Maya. 2. The capacity to tread the middle way between the pairs of opposites, dissipating glamour. And 3. The capacity to use the intuition, dispelling illusion. We bear in mind that none of these 3 stages, achieving indifference, technique of indifference, dissipation of glamour, technique of light, dispelling of illusion, technique of the presence, are in reality divided off from each other by clear lines of demarcation, nor do they follow each other in a clear sequence. As a group, we experience the variety of expressions that demonstrate how these proceed with much overlapping and often with a partial simultaneity. It is only when we, as disciples, face certain initiations that we can awaken to the fact of these distinctions. We know, O Lord of light and love, about the need. Touch our hearts anew with love, that we too may love and give.